And now back
into Yes or
One thing that kids hear a lot of is the idea that even though we're little, we can do big things. So I've decided to test this theory myself. And I thought, what could be smaller than a kernel of corn? So let's find out if this itsy-bitsy kernel of corn can do big things. When kids think of corn, we usually imagine delicious, hot, dripping in butter and lightly salted sweet corn. Mmm. We might even picture fields of corn plants growing along our rustic roads and highways. But it's not all sweet corn. Only 1% of corn crops are sweet corn, and 99% of planted corn is field corn, which is used for animal feed and ethanol production. About 12 to 15% of that field corn is processed into food for human consumption, and products like starch, corn syrup, corn oil, corn flakes, cornmeal, well, you get the picture. But when you look at those fields, you probably don't realize that there are more than 4,000 ways to use the corn you see. It's really quite amazing. Let's talk to a farmer and see exactly how all this corn gets used. Hi, Bill.
Hi, Stefan.
Now this is a lot of corn.
Yes, it is. Have you ever been in a cornfield before?
No, I haven't.
Well, the corn I grow is called feed corn. It's not what you're used to, like corn on the cob or, corn with your meal.
So, if we don't eat the corn you grow, what do we use it for?
Well, we use it for a lot of things. Primarily it's used for cattle feed, cattle, hogs, chickens, and we consume it that way through, meat products that we use. It's also used for energy production and actually a myriad of other uses, and we'll see a lot of those today.
So how much corn do you grow here?
Well, I farm about 1,200 acres. That's approximately 1,000 football fields. And on those 1,200 acres, I grow about 240,000 bushels of corn. Do you know what a bushel of corn is?
No.
Well, this is a bushel. A bushel is 56 pounds of corn. And this is one bushel. And so on a typical acre, I produce 200 bushel of corn.
Have you always grown this much corn?
No, actually, when I started farming about 30 years ago on this piece of ground, I was producing 100 bushels per acre, and now I'm producing 200.
Wow, so corn farmers are really symbols of modern efficiency. In fact, over the past 20 years, Wisconsin corn growers have increased yields by planting more corn per acre. This in turn reduces the amount of soil loss, the amount of water used for irrigation, and reduces the amount of emissions during harvest, which is good for all of us. In order for people to thrive, we need clean water, clean air, and clean food. And I found out that corn helps with all those things. In researching my theory, I popped over to a corn milling facility to find out more about the importance of corn. Here at the mill, I found out that corn feeds people, it feeds animals, and it's used in thousands of products that we utilize every day. Let me break it down. First, I found out those small golden kernels of corn are actually made up of many valuable components. The main parts of a corn kernel are the pericarp, or bran, the endosperm, and the germ. The pericarp, or bran, is the outer covering that shields the kernel and protects the nutrients inside. It's also a dietary fiber. The endosperm is the biggest portion of the kernel and contains the starch and protein. And the germ contains the enzymes, vitamins, and minerals that the kernel would need to grow into a corn plant. About 25% of the germ is corn oil. Here at Didion Milling, they put the kernels through a process called fractionation. Each corn kernel is actually split into these 3 different parts. Ever heard the phrase, the whole is more than the sum of its parts? Well, Doug is here to help us explain what that really means when it comes to corn. Hi, Doug.
Hello, Stefan.
I've heard fractionization. What does that really mean?
Fractionalization is the separation of the corn kernel into 4 distinct parts: the bran, the germ, the soft endosperm, and the hard endosperm.
So what do we have in front of us today?
Well, Stefan, we have some corn bran, which is used for many applications from dietary fiber and cereals to kitty litter. Here we have some very coarse grit that you can feel. And this goes into many of the cereal applications, and each one of these product classes gets finer as we go down. The cones, flours are used for breaders and batters. The meals cornmeal, muffins, many of the products that we eat today.
So while we don't eat the field corn right from the cob, the corn is actually used in a lot of food products.
You're exactly right. From the products we looked at here, we have many uses and products that are produced from it. Food-grade products, industrial-type products. Some of them we have on the table today are breakfast cereals and breads.
I recognize some of them from when I eat breakfast.
Absolutely, and chips and other extruded products. Breaders and batters for the fish and corn dogs, and industrial applications for plywood, kitty litter, and also briquettes. So Stefan, in addition to the products that you see here today, which we've taken the very best of the corn kernel to produce, we also have an ethanol plant that produces fuel.
So a company like yours not only produces enough food from corn to feed millions of people, but you also produce enough ethanol to drive 3.5 million miles every day.
That is correct.
Head to intotheoutdoors.org to learn all of the things this amazing little kernel can do. But don't go away. These tiny titans are just getting started.
Don't go